My fiance keeps insisting I invite my parents to our wedding, the same ones who kicked me out and said to never come back, and now I'm not sure if I want to get married anymore. Posted by you/Objective National 517. So, some backstory: my dad left the family and went no contact when I, 35M, was 4. My mom remarried and had 2 kids with my stepdad, Dale. Dale never treated me poorly but always made it clear that I was not his son to him. He was not my dad. My mom never tried to fix the relationship and honestly loved her new family, always seeing me as a burden. At least, that's what I thought, until it was confirmed after my freshman year of college when my mom asked me not to come home anymore. I blocked her after that phone call and have had no contact with her, my stepdad, or my half-brother since then. I still speak to my half-sister, 25F, at her insistence, but that's my only contact. It took me a long time to deal with basically being kicked out of my family. I grew to be pretty independent and thought I'd live alone until I met my fiancée, 28F, 4 years ago. We have had a great relationship, and her family welcomed me with open arms. She comes from a pretty typical suburban family, and they are great. Over the years, I've told her about my issues with my family. She has met my sister, and she never pushed for more, that is, until we started planning the wedding. When we started talking about who we would invite, I mentioned friends from college and coworkers, and she kept suggesting that I should invite my parents. At first, I thought she was just trying to gauge if I wanted to. I said I would not be inviting my parents. She said okay, but then brought it up again the next day. I calmly explained how much they hurt me, how growing up feeling unwanted and then having it confirmed at 19 really stunted my mental health. I explained that over the years, I have realized it's their problem, and if they ever want to solve it, they can initiate contact. I am in contact with my sister, and it is clear they are happy pretending I don't exist. It sucks, but it's their problem that they have thrust onto me. I can't be the one to solve it. I thought it had ended, but she brought it up 2 more times. The last time was last night when we were about to start the save the dates, and she said, "Are you sure you don't want to invite your parents?" I feel like I might just invite them on my side, I snapped. I told her we should probably just throw the invitations away because if you can't respect what I've been through, then I don't want to marry you. I then went to our bedroom and fumed for a while. She came in to try to talk to me, and I walked out, grabbed my keys, and left. I came back around 11 p.m. after hanging with friends and slept on the couch. She left for work without a word to me, and I don't know where we stand. Her behavior is unacceptable, but I feel I may have gone too far. What do you all think? Commenter. She's already in contact with your parents. This particular kind of obliviousness doesn't start with asking permission but rather with begging forgiveness. Ops response. I don't think so. I go to dinner or talk with my sister every Thursday night, and she would hint if my mom and Dale wanted to reconcile. They don't. They honestly are happier pretending I don't exist. Update 1 day later. I'm very overwhelmed by the many thoughtful responses. Thank you to everyone who took the time to respond. I thought I would give an update. My fiancé normally gets home around 5:30 p.m., so after I was done working, I work from home, I waited for her to show up. I got very worried when it was 6, and she still wasn't home, but around 6:15, she showed up with my sister, which was a big surprise. While my sister and I connect every Thursday, we live 45 minutes away from each other, so her popping by is not normal. Both of them looked very anxious, so I was very confused. I asked them what was going on, and my sister just burst into tears, saying she's sorry. After about 5 minutes of her losing it, she started talking about the family. Apparently, when she told my mom and Dale that I got engaged, it created a rift between them. Not because they cared about me, but because my half-brother, who is 27, is still living at home, single, with no steady job. If you're thinking, wow, they kicked you out at 19 but let him stay there past the age when he could rent a car, don't worry, I said it out loud. My mom apparently wants to do the same to my half-brother, but Dale won't let her. So, they are currently separated, with my mom living with family and refusing to come back until my half-brother is out of the house. For some reason that defies all logic and reason, my sister thinks that getting an invite to my wedding will bring the family together since it was my engagement that caused the rift. At this, I blew up a bit. I told her that my engagement had nothing to do with it, that their awful parenting and poor relationship skills caused it, and not to put that crap on me. She cried even harder, and this time I was not going to console her. My fiancé was just sitting there the whole time, so while my sister was trying to pull herself together, I questioned my fiancé about this. She also teared up a bit, and told me that my sister had been telling her how I always bring up the family on our Thursdays, and that deep down, I wanted to repair the relationship. I asked how she could believe that when I was very clear that I was no contact with my family, and had never mentioned wanting to be in contact. I told her that I share everything with her and would never hold back something like this without talking to her. She's always been my sounding board. When I switched jobs last year, we talked about it every night, and her advice mattered more than anyone else's. She apologized and then wanted to show me her phone, specifically the messages between her and my sister. At this point, my sister perked up and asked her not to show the phone conversation, but my fiancé told her she was trying to save our relationship. It turns out my sister had been straight up lying about our Thursday conversations. She was saying that I was always talking about reconciling, that I would never admit it but was partially at fault too, and that I really wanted to see them all again. Every time I told my fiancé no, she would text my sister, and my sister would respond, claiming that I just couldn't be open because I was embarrassed. All of this was completely false. I would be perfectly happy never seeing any of them again. I can't believe my sister still sees them. At this point, I told my half-sister to leave and that Thursdays are cancelled. My sister put up a bit of a fight, but I ignored her until she left. She kept saying sorry over and over again, but honestly, I'm done with her. I've blocked her and will be no contact with her for the time being. It's a complete betrayal of my feelings and relationships. As for my fiance and me, I am still very upset. She went behind my back with my sister, never asked me about it, let my sister manipulate her, and honestly hurt me. I told her I love her, but my trust is broken. We've agreed to go to couples therapy and see if we can repair the relationship. I hope we can, but right now, it's a toss-up for me. She's got a lot of work to do. Update 8 days later. A lot has happened, so I'm just going to try and spill it out in order. After my sister left, I told my fiancé that I loved her but didn't trust her at the moment. I felt like she took my sister's side instead of mine. So, I continued to sleep on the couch for a couple of nights. She was walking on eggshells around me, and I hated it, but I just wasn't ready to forgive her. Then, on Friday night after I hung out with friends, I came home and crashed on the couch. We had had an innocuous conversation, but she did ask me to come to bed, and I told her I just wasn't ready. I woke up to use the bathroom at around 3 a.m., and she was sleeping on the floor next to me. I don't know why exactly, but it touched me deeply, and I cried a little. It meant so much to know that she wanted to be near me, even when I was being unloving. It really turned the tide for me. I woke up a few hours later, and she was making me breakfast, a surprise since Saturday is usually my big breakfast making day. We sat down to eat, and while she was still keeping the conversation light, treading on eggshells, I decided to share a story from my childhood. I told her how Dale used to make breakfast for the family but never included me. I was older, so I slept in, and when I got up, there was rarely any breakfast left. If there was, it was in the fridge, and no one would eat with me. I explained how much our Saturday brunches mean to me and that I hadn't really ever talked about it, which wasn't fair to her. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and apologized again, but I told her I didn't need it. I told her I forgave her, and while I still want to do couples therapy because I think it'll help me express my family issues with her in a healthy way, I'm ready to send out the save the dates. I then asked her to massage my back because the couch was a nightmare to sleep on, and she knew I was serious. I don't love people touching me, except my fiancé, and I had really not allowed it since the original incident. I know most of you did not want me to forgive my fiancé, but I love her, and she loves me. She made a huge mistake, but she's never experienced anything like what I went through, and she showed remorse. As for my sister, my mom reached out via a phone number I didn't recognize and told me I should forgive my sister. I told her to screw off, and it just confirmed my sister really never had a relationship with me at all, because if she knew me, she would know that contact with my mom would only make the situation worse. I then blocked the number. This happened Thursday evening. She tried to come by on Sunday, but my fiancé and I were out. She left a note apologizing, saying she didn't ask our mom to contact me and was sorry that she did. My fiancé wants nothing to do with my sister anymore but left the decision up to me. I told her that my sister was my family, so if she didn't want her there, she wouldn't be there. It was a bit of a jab, for sure, but she took it well and said she didn't want her there. We've been getting back to normal, but it will still take time. I think I might try individual therapy because, as I've been reflecting on everything, I'm starting to realize the family situation might be worse than I've acknowledged, and it might be time to really deal with it. The save the dates were sent out yesterday, and the wedding is still on. I'm not sure if I'll update again, but thank you all for letting me process and vent. Commenter. I don't understand. If eating breakfast on Saturday as a child was so important, why didn't you just get up early and eat with the family? Ops response. It's clear many of you have had terrific relationships with your parents or step-parents, and never had to deal with someone like Dale, who would roll his eyes, look annoyed, and say something like, "Looks like he's ruined daddy-kid time," before looking at his other siblings. I'm happy you didn't have to deal with that, but I'm tired of having to explain and reopen painful memories for your public entertainment when I came here for advice and to vent, not to entertain. This was an update as a thank you. I kind of wish I hadn't done it. I definitely won't update again.